Hello, it's Hammy time, and this is a spring garden I made for my hamsters. I made this cherry blossom tree from a paper bag and children's craft paper. I made this garden-style bridge from toilet paper and paper towel rolls. I made some grass and flowers from craft paper. I used blue and white bedding and clean rocks to make a creek. And I used brown and green paper bedding to make a grassy hillside. This is not my hamster's cage. This is a filming set I made to show the full potential of everything I made, and also because my hamster Mia is a big chewer and she might destroy everything too fast. I wanted it to last long enough to get all the shots I needed for this video. To make the tree, I used a paper shopping bag. I cut out the bottom of the bag and split it apart along the side seam. I used a 20-ounce cup to mold the bag around to make the trunk of the tree. I marked the height of the tree trunk where the branches will start. I cut 2 slits up to my marks. I did this on both ends. I used some clean rocks to weigh down the tree so it won't tip over. I placed the rocks in the center and covered them up with the cup. I wrapped the cup with the bag and then pulled out the cup. I held the top of the trunk and carefully twisted the bag at the bottom as much as I could. I scrunched and twisted the flaps to make the branches. I cut shorter slits to make smaller branches. I tied some string around the top of the trunk to help keep it from untwisting while I worked on the branches. I used children's craft paper to make the cherry blossoms. To make the blossoms, I cut 4" by 4" pieces of pink paper and crumpled them up into a ball. I prefer to use school glue for my DIYs, but because school glue doesn't dry fast enough, I had to use non-toxic hot glue to attach the blossoms. I decided it needed more branches, so I cut up another bag and attached a few more branches with hot glue. And now my tree is done. To make the garden bridge, I used 12 toilet paper rolls and 1 paper towel roll. I cut the rolls in half and rolled them up using a pencil. I glued them with school glue, wrapped them up with hair bands, and then let them dry. I used the lid to one of my cooking pots to use as a guide. I glued the rolls together and set them up against the lid. The rolls are glued together, but the bridge is too flexible at this stage and will not hold the weight of a hamster. The railings are needed for support and to make it more rigid. For the railing, I used 8 of the rolls for the posts. 4 of them are end posts and the other 4 are middle posts. I cut them down to 3 inches. For the 4 middle posts, I cut curved cuts at the bottom to fit the rolls better. I cut the tops of the end posts at an angle to fit the railing better. I used a couple of rocks to help hold the shape of the bridge. At this point, I realized that the 4 middle posts were too tall, so when they were completely dry, I cut them down to 2 inches. To make the railings, I cut a paper towel roll in half and rolled them up. I cut notches out of the rolls to help it bend over the posts. I had to use hot glue to attach the railings because I needed a fast drying glue to keep the posts aligned straight. And the bridge is done. To make the grass, I use strips of cardboard to help anchor them down in the bedding. It's not necessary, but it does help keep it in place. I cut strips of green paper approximately 3 inches tall. I glued the grass to the strips of cardboard, and once dry, I cut them down into shorter strips and used my fingernails to lightly curl the blades of grass. I rolled them up and I was done. To make the flowers, I used a flower-shaped paper punch. To make my filming set, I used this cloud banner from the craft store. I found it in the poster board section. I used natural, green, and blue hamster bedding. I used clean rocks. To clean the rocks, I washed them with soap and water. To make the backdrop, I set some boards onto a large table and covered them with the cloud banner paper. I set the tree down on top of a small box and covered it up with natural bedding. I carved out the creek and placed the bridge over it. I filled the creek with blue bedding. I added the rocks and grass. I covered the natural bedding with the green bedding. I added bits of white bedding to the creek to create the waves. And for the final touch, I sprinkled the yellow flowers onto the green bedding. And that's how I made my hamster's spring garden. Thank you for watching.